Greetings, Quester, and welcome to the Quest Report with Matt and Richard.
The next Quest Report is about Overseers, which is a card game. And basically, the object of this game is to have the most points in front of you. You get to pick your cards through drafting, which is what we were talking about last time with Inish, which is actually quite a good way of getting your cards into it, really, because you're kind of half choosing them. It's not completely random.
I do love the drafting mechanism.
Yeah, so you get to pick one and then pass the pile round to your left, isn't it? And then pick another one out of the one that you get next. So
yeah,
you're
dealt
kind
six
of,
initially, aren't you? And then
and you're going to end up having 5 cards, and the ones that you've kind of chosen. And what you have to do is put them out in front of you, 3 of them face up, and 2 of them face down. Now the idea behind this is you're trying to have the highest score, but not look like you've got the highest score. Because what's going to happen is everybody then gets to put a little token next to the person who they think has the highest score. Now if you do, or don't, you can admit it or you can deny it. Well, just depending what you think, if you have the highest score or not. And generally, you can get kind of knocked down a peg, really, if you do have the highest score and you don't admit it, that kind of thing. Now, the other important thing about this is, and it only lasts 3 rounds, so you do like 3 lots of this, and depending how many points you've got, you take that many coins. So basically, whoever's got the most coins at the end of 3 rounds is the winner. But you are a different overseer each round. So before we deal out those cards, we deal out these character cards, which are much bigger, and they have great artwork on them.
The artwork's beautiful, isn't it, on these?
And each one of these different overseers will have a different ability to be used at a different time. So each round you are going to have one strange ability, and it can be that certain cards will be worth more to you, or it could be that you get to take a card from somebody else at some point, or you get to choose a different overseer to be. Just things generally like that. So there are a few of those, and I think we're going to have a talk about them. But that generally is the object of the game, and it's very quick. And once you get past that first round, the next 2 you really know what you're doing, don't you? So it's very quick to pick up. So that's why we enjoyed Overseers. We played it both 3-player and 4-player, haven't we?
That's right, yeah. And I'd actually quite like to play it with the full complement of players, because I think the more players it is, the more interesting the game will be. And yeah, as you were saying, we've got drafting in it, which is a mechanic of a game that I personally really enjoy doing. And it's quite good because, say, you dealt your 6, you pick one, pass it on. But some of the cards, because you're trying to do set collection as well, are only really valuable if you've got 2 or 3 of those cards.
Yeah.
So you could be looking at these cards in your hand and thinking, well, I want several of these right now. And you're going to have to decide whether you want to maybe go for a higher value card on its own, or think, I'm going to try and get, for example, one of these cards, the Hope cards, which on its own is worth nothing, but if you get 3, it's worth 21.
That's why it's Hope.
Yeah. So you sometimes you're taking quite a risk in what you decide to keep and what you decide to pass on, because you're always going to get down to having 2 cards and keep one, and the other goes into the discard pile. And depending on the number of players, you may have an extra card discarded anyway. I actually thought when we played it with 4 that I dealt wrong, because there was an extra card somehow in the discard pile automatically once we'd dealt 6 cards to every player. It's just that there was meant to be an extra card that's discarded every round.
Yeah, you kept trying to put it in a different pile, didn't you? So.
Yeah, it was. It threw me out at first, but several things here. First of all, everything in this game is beautiful. You've got a really nice cotton bag, the red tokens.
One of them's pretty gross.
Yeah.
This one, Zia, which I think you're going to put a picture of up.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's wearing a horrible mask, that's the only thing. I mean, she's probably very attractive.
Well, I'm sure she's a wonderful person.
Yeah, she's got a great personality.
But the artwork and the design of the game is absolutely fantastic. I mean, when I got this, I thought, I don't really want to just stick this on a shelf somewhere. I want this on display. The the box art's great. The character cards, beautiful art. I really like the way that the actual cards themselves are designed and the way they look. And the tokens. There's some quite interesting tokens here. You've got the metal leader token that came with it.
Oh yeah.
The red voting tokens.
So it's whoever gets the lowest score in a round is the leader for the next one.
That's
and they
right.
Get this metal
Even
token.
if they're leading the game overall, it's just whoever's got the lowest score in that particular round.
Yep.
One of the things I'm going to say this: the Kickstarter, because I backed this at Kickstarter. The Kickstarter for this game offered as an add-on the sleeves for the cards. Every Kickstarter should do this,
Right.
because it's a personal pet peeve when I want to get the sleeve cards, figuring out which sleeve sizes I need and getting them ordered. Having them turn up with the game was just brilliant.
You've got these two sizes of cards, so it's pretty good that you've already got the sleeves.
Well, the character cards are more sort of more in line with like the Dixit sizes, but probably a little bit smaller. So it would have been.
Yeah, Dixit cards are massive.
I think technically they're called, that card size is called tarot size. But yeah, the artwork on this is beautiful. The gameplay is really fast. You only play 3 rounds, so 30 minutes I think would be more than enough, regardless of the amount of player count. Also, you get voting in this, which is always a bit of a hit and miss mechanic with certain games, because people tend to have their own reasons for voting the way they do. And for example, there were times where I thought I had the lowest score, and I deliberately voted for myself, because if I could then deny it. I was able to take after it was proved that I had the lowest score, take a card from the discard pile, which added to my score.
You could use it for social experiments of people just going along with the crowd.
So, and it was quite interesting, because there was a couple of times where I was the deciding factor and I voted for myself just because I thought it might give me a way of getting some extra points that round.
You didn't tell me if you did that afterwards. So.
Yeah, I thought I'd keep that quiet.
This is the first time I've heard this. So now I want to play this again.
Yeah.
Never vote for Matt.
It put me in mind very much of because of the set collection side of it, of playing poker. The cards side of it made me think also of Tiny Epic Western, which we've both played and both recommend.
There's only a tiny amount of set collection. It doesn't really matter too much. It's the numbers that matter, and you get to, when you collect the set, it's like collecting 2 of the same. Yeah. So it's not like it's complicated. It is basically about the numbers.
But when I say set collection, I was thinking more just the fact that you're drafting to get these 5 cards.
Oh, right, to get 5 particular ones.
Yeah, but you're right, there is that set collection within the set collection where you're trying to, maybe, if you decide to go for those cards, trying to get a set of the 3 so you've got the highest score. It's quite interesting as well, if you are voted as being the one with the highest score and you deny it, but it turns out you do have the highest score, you then lose the 2 cards from your set that round that would have given you the most points.
And your friends never trust you again.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But I say, whereas if you deny it and you haven't got the highest score, you get to take card from the discard pile. And some of the cards do very interesting things. So, for example, I kept getting a character card that let me take greed cards from the discard pile, or would let me just take an extra card from the discard pile anyway, which meant if I then had the most greed cards in my set, I was still allowed to steal a card. So all of a sudden, I'd go from having 5 cards to having 7 cards at the end of the round. There are cards that let you alter one of your cards to copy another card, or as Richard says, there's ones that give certain cards certain bonus points. There are cards that right at the start allow you to go through the leftover character cards, draw 3 and pick one.
So yeah, this Su Yin one makes, because anger cards are normally worth 6. If you have Su Yin, they're worth 8. So if your 2 hidden cards are both anger cards and you've got this, then you actually get loads of points that they didn't know you had. So
and you get player aids as well, don't you, for each player, which will tell you what the card values are and how many of them are in the game. And these little player aids are really good, because not only do they do that on the front, they tell you how many cards will be in based on the number of players, etc. But on the back, it gives you a breakdown of all of the different phases of the game, and it shows you as well which part of that round you should use your character power in if you haven't already noticed and done so.
Yeah, because there's a symbol that matches up to what's on your card, so you know when you're meant to use the card. So I was only using that side of it.
Was you? Oh, okay.
But so what you were talking about then, that side, that can be really useful, because if there's already like a load of hope cards out that you can see, you know that a lot of the hidden ones, you can kind of count up and see that it's very unlikely that there'll be any, because that will be really what gives somebody lots of hidden points, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really interesting as well, trying to work out, right, which cards do I want people to see, because if I put out my high value cards, are they going to think I've got even higher value cards that I've hidden?
Yeah.
You know, so you can, there is a bit of bluffing element in this as well, and it's quite a strong element, and you can debate between you when it comes around to voting as to who you think's going to likely to have the most points.
Yeah, you can go on campaign.
And then you decide, right, who do I need to screw over in this round, and how can I do it? So, but it's a really fun game. It's, as I say, absolutely beautiful. I think if you enjoy Sheriff of Nottingham, that was one game I thought, because of the bluffing aspect, or if you like poker, Tiny Epic Westerns, if you enjoy drafting games, bluffing games, then check out Overseers. What do you think, Richard?
Yeah, I enjoyed the speed of the rounds once it really got going. Like you said on the box, it was like 30 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah.
And we're always sceptical when it's got a low time on the box, because we think, it would take us twice as long. But it was done pretty quick, and we did enjoy it. So, yeah, I do think this is a fun game that's easy to pick up. So, I would recommend Overseers as well. And also, I think we should play these games again after we've done this quest report, because I learned so many of the tactics that you've been using. And I think we should do quest reports and then play it, and then maybe do.
You find out what some of my dirty tricks are.
Yeah, that's it, and then maybe a secondary quest report of whether these things work, or if you were just misleading me again with telling me what you were doing. So,
yeah, next time I'll be using completely different Git tactics. Yeah. I think as well it's worth mentioning, this is actually a reprint. I didn't know when I backed it on Kickstarter. It's a reprint of a 2015 game, which was Japanese only.
Right.
That was called Chenghuang, Guardian of the City. Obviously the same designer.
They changed the name a lot.
I'm actually surprised they didn't just call it Guardian of the City, but as opposed to Overseers.
Yeah.
I don't think
bureaucracy just call it that.
I don't think really either of those titles really reflect the nature of the
game,
do
I just imagine that these, I think it says it on the cards, isn't it, that these are the Overseers. Yeah. These character ones are the Overseers, I think. It
doesn't. It's just sometimes you see a game title and it really relates to the game and the way the game's played, and neither the Japanese name or the English name of Overseers do that at all.
Yeah, this is just we are doing some things.
Yeah. But yeah, it's worth mentioning as well, there is a game that's come through Kickstarter called Tao Long. Now with Tao Long, if you were a backer of Overseers on Kickstarter and you back Tao Long, you get a free cotton bag for the pieces for Tao Long. So if you were a backer of this, and for some reason you decided to see what we thought of the game after spending your money on it and having it on your shelf for months, and you also happen to be a backer of Tao Long, make sure you get your free cotton bag.
Alright, well, this is going to be in the episode with everything else, isn't it? So they might have been learning lots about consulting detective. But yeah, so okay. You're backing that?
I've backed Tao Long, yeah.
So look forward to a quest report on Tao Long.
Yeah. In the meantime, folks, stay meddlesome.
Yes.
Farewell, Quester. To find out about other productions by the Meddlesome Meeples, then check out our channel or rendezvous with us at meddlesomemeeples.com. Until next time, Quester, farewell and keep thine axe sharp.